Could stars, atoms, and space itself be thinking? Imagine for a moment that the flickering stars above you are not just distant, burning spheres of gas, but points of awareness, that the empty space between atoms holds more than just silence. It holds consciousness, and that every rock, every tree, and every fleeting thought in your mind is part of a vast cosmic mind dreaming itself into existence. This isn't science fiction. It's a very real idea, one ancient sages whispered in temples long lost to time, and one that modern science is only just beginning to rediscover. A forgotten truth buried beneath layers of materialism and mechanistic thinking, that the universe itself may be conscious. Welcome to a realm where philosophy meets quantum physics, where mystics and scientists converge in wonder, and where the boundaries between you and everything begin to dissolve. In this journey, we will uncover the mysterious doctrine of Panpsychism, the belief that consciousness is not limited to humans or even animals, but is a fundamental quality of reality itself. We'll trace its echoes through ancient civilizations, peer into the newest frontiers of neuroscience and cosmology, and explore what it truly means to be aware. You'll discover why cutting-edge thinkers are reconsidering age-old spiritual truths, why the mind may not be a byproduct of the brain, and how your very act of observation could ripple through the universe like a drop in a sentient ocean. But more than that, this isn't just theory. You'll learn how to experience this awareness firsthand, how to awaken to the living intelligence that permeates all things, and why recognizing your own consciousness as a fragment of the cosmos may be the most revolutionary act of all. This is not just a video. It's an invitation to remember, to reawaken, to question everything you thought you knew about what it means to be alive. So now, ask yourself, are you watching the universe, or is the universe watching itself through you? Long before modern science cast its gaze into the quantum fabric of reality, humanity's ancestors already whispered of a truth too vast to be measured, too sacred to be owned. The universe is alive. Across continents and centuries, from the emerald jungles of the Amazon to the sandstone temples of ancient Egypt, the same intuition pulsed at the heart of spiritual traditions, the belief that consciousness was not confined to the skulls of humans, but was embedded in the stars, the stones, and the wind. The ancient Vedic sages of India called it Brahman, the infinite, unchanging consciousness that pervades everything. They taught that all of existence was a manifestation of this cosmic mind, and that the self, Atman, was not separate from it, but an expression of the same divine awareness. In pre-Socratic Greece, philosophers like Thales declared that everything is full of gods, hinting at a cosmos animated by soul. Plato, too, in his Timaeus, described the universe as a living creature, endowed with intelligence and a soul of its own. The indigenous cultures of the Americas, Africa, and Oceania shared this vision, not as theory, but as lived experience. Shamans would speak with rivers, elders would listen to mountains. To them, the world was not a dead backdrop to human drama. It was a sacred, intelligent presence in which all things participated. And yet, somewhere along the way, this wisdom was buried. With the rise of mechanistic science in the West, Newton's laws, Descartes' dualism, and the Industrial Revolution, the cosmos was stripped of its soul. The world became a machine, and consciousness was reduced to a mere side effect of complex brains. Matter was king, spirit, and illusion. But what if this turn was not a progression, but a forgetting? What if, in the name of progress, we severed ourselves from an ancient truth? Today, this long-dismissed wisdom is beginning to rise again, from the depths of ancient texts, and now from the frontiers of modern science. Physicists probing the quantum realm find paradoxes that defy a soulless universe. Neuroscientists cannot locate the precise origin of consciousness in the brain, and philosophers are once again daring to ask the unthinkable. What if consciousness is not created by the brain, but is a fundamental property of the universe itself? This idea, once the domain of mystics, is now known as Panpsychism. Panpsychism suggests that everything has some degree of consciousness, not in the sense that a rock thinks in words or that an atom has opinions, But that experience, however faint, is intrinsic to all matter. It is not a return to superstition. It is a re-enchantment of reality, grounded in the recognition that the mystery of mind may not be a glitch in the matrix, but the matrix itself. What ancient sages felt, modern thinkers are now trying to prove. And as this bridge between science and spirit strengthens, we find ourselves on the verge of a new worldview, one that might not just change how we see the universe, but how the universe sees itself through us. Because if panpsychism is true, then you are not merely in the universe. You are the universe awakening. So how could the universe be conscious? To answer that, we must begin not in the stars, but within your own mind. Take a moment to observe yourself. Not your thoughts, but the awareness behind them. That silent witness watching your breath rise and fall. Your emotions drift like clouds. That is consciousness, not the chatter, but the clear sky it arises in. Now here's the mystery. Despite centuries of research, no scientist has ever pinpointed the exact mechanism that produces consciousness. We can scan the brain, map neural pathways, track chemical impulses, but consciousness itself remains elusive. It does not show up in the equations. It cannot be weighed or sliced. It simply is. This enigma has led to what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. How does subjective experience arise from physical matter? How does a clump of neurons generate the feeling of love or the color blue? For centuries, the dominant view has been materialism, the belief that matter is primary and consciousness emerges from complexity. In other words, your awareness is a side effect of your brain, no more meaningful than the steam from a kettle. But what if we've had it backward all along? Enter panpsychism, a radical shift that flips the script. It suggests that consciousness is not an emergent property, but a fundamental one. Just like mass, charge, or spin, awareness is baked into the very fabric of existence. In this view, even the tiniest particles, electrons, quarks, possess a proto-consciousness. Not a mind, but a glimmer of experience. When these particles combine in complex forms, like the human brain, their micro-consciousnesses coalesce into the unified awareness we experience as the self. It's not unlike pixels forming an image. Individually, a pixel is simple, just a dot of light. But when millions align in intricate patterns, they produce vivid pictures, moving stories. Could consciousness work the same way? This theory is not idle speculation. Influential thinkers like philosopher Galileo Galilei once argued that to do science, we must strip matter of its subjective qualities, color, taste, sound, and focus only on what can be measured. But in doing so, we exiled consciousness from our model of the universe. Now, thinkers like Galileo scholar Philip Goff and neuroscientist Christoph Koch are reopening that door, suggesting that perhaps we must put subjective experience back into our equations. And physics itself offers strange clues. In quantum mechanics, the observer plays a central role. A particle's behavior changes when it is observed, as if reality is aware it is being watched. This has baffled scientists for decades. What does it mean for matter to know it is being measured? Some interpretations suggest that consciousness may be woven into the quantum field itself, that awareness is not the end result of evolution, but the ground from which it arises. Mystical? Perhaps. But the deeper we probe into reality, the more we find it behaving, not mechanically, but mysteriously. And so, we are left with a possibility both ancient and revolutionary, that the universe is not a cold, dead mechanism, but a living, breathing field of consciousness expressing itself in infinite forms. From the beating heart of a bird to the dance of galaxies, all is part of a cosmic tapestry of awareness, one that you are not separate from, but made of. And here's where the mystery deepens. If everything is conscious, then consciousness is not just in you, it is you. It is also the tree outside your window, the breeze across your skin, the sun that warms your face. The boundary between subject and object begins to blur, and you begin to realize you were never truly alone. The universe has always been speaking. You were simply taught not to listen. Let us now peer even deeper into the paradoxes and mysteries that lie at the edge of reason. If the universe is conscious, then what is consciousness really? Is it a light we carry, or a mirror reflecting something far vaster than ourselves? One of the most astonishing implications of panpsychism is the idea that consciousness is not confined to individual beings, but is shared, interconnected, and perhaps even unified across all of existence. What if your awareness and mine are simply eddies in a single ocean of sentience, separate at the surface, but joined at the depths? This is not a new thought. In the Upanishads, it is written, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that, a declaration that the essence of your soul is the same as the essence of the cosmos. In Buddhism, the concept of interbeing teaches that nothing exists in isolation, and that the separation we perceive is an illusion born of limited perspective. But if these spiritual traditions have long known it, what does science say? Let us revisit the quantum world. At this scale, particles become entangled, so deeply linked that they can influence one another instantly across vast distances. Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance. But what if this is more than a mathematical curiosity? What if entanglement hints at a deeper unity, a cosmic web of knowing that connects all things beneath the veil of form? Theoretical physicist David Bohm spoke of the implicate order, a hidden layer of reality where everything is enfolded into everything else. To him, the universe was more like a grand hologram, each part containing the whole. He suggested that what we see as separation is merely a surface phenomenon. Beneath it lies an undivided wholeness, conscious, dynamic, alive. And what of the brain, the supposed seat of awareness? Here, too, mystery reigns. Studies have shown that people with significantly reduced brain tissue can still function normally, sometimes with nearly full cognitive capacity. Known as the cognitive reserve phenomenon, it defies the assumption that the brain generates consciousness. It raises the provocative possibility that the brain might not be a source, but a receiver, a biological tuning device like a radio, filtering a broader field of awareness into a personal experience. This view aligns closely with ancient esoteric teachings. The Hermetic axiom states, as above, so below, as within, so without. Consciousness is not isolated within us, it is reflected in us. We do not create it, we participate in it, but not all agree. Some scientists argue that panpsychism dilutes the meaning of consciousness. If everything is conscious, they say, then the term loses its value. A rock doesn't think, a spoon doesn't dream. And that's fair if we are clinging to a human-centered definition of awareness. But what panpsychism suggests is not that inanimate objects think like we do, but that experience in some rudimentary form may be the foundation of all existence. In this view, a rock's consciousness is not thought, it is being. It does not think, but it is. And its being is not separate from yours. This reframing challenges our assumptions. We have been conditioned to see the world as a hierarchy. Humans at the top, animals below, plants, rocks, dust. But what if it's not a ladder, but a circle or a spiral, an unfolding fractal of awareness, each level reflecting the whole in its own way? Here lies the hidden truth. You are not simply a passenger in a lifeless cosmos. You are a thread in a living tapestry, a note in a symphonic mind. And every leaf, every breeze, every moment of silence is consciousness in disguise. This view doesn't diminish you, it expands you. It suggests that your thoughts are not echoing in a void, but resonating through a responsive, sentient universe. And perhaps it is listening, not as a God above, but as the stars themselves, watching through your eyes, thinking through your mind, dreaming of itself. All of this, ancient wisdom, quantum theory, esoteric philosophy, it means nothing if it stays abstract. The real power of panpsychism, of the conscious universe, lies not in the theory, but in the experience. So how do you live in a world where everything is aware? You begin by remembering. Each morning, when you open your eyes, recognize that you are not waking in the universe. You are waking as the universe, in human form. This shift is subtle, but profound. You are not separate from the trees outside, or the wind that brushes your skin. You are a moment of cosmic attention, directed inward. Here's the first practice: relational awareness. Choose a moment each day to engage with your surroundings as if they were conscious. Not metaphorically, but truly. Sit with a tree, watch a candle, feel the texture of a stone in your hand, not as an object, but as a presence. Ask yourself, what would it mean if this was aware of me too? You may be surprised at what begins to unfold. Second, inner silence. Meditation is not just about calming the mind, it is about tuning the instrument. If consciousness is everywhere, your thoughts are ripples on a much deeper sea. Sit each day in silence. Do not chase visions. Simply listen. Feel the stillness beneath your thoughts. That stillness is not emptiness, it is communion. Over time, you may start to sense that you're not alone in your own mind, that a deeper intelligence is pulsing through you, whispering not in words but in intuition, synchronicity, and symbol. Next, practice the observer. In Panpsychism, every part of reality has a perspective, however small. You, as a complex node of awareness, have the gift of reflection. So reflect. When you feel anger, witness it. When you feel joy, observe it gently. Don't identify, just witness. In this, you dissolve the illusion of separation between observer and observed. You begin to see that your emotions, your thoughts, your very identity are not you. They are phenomena within consciousness, not the source of it. Fourth, ritual connection. Create a sacred practice, daily or weekly, that honors the conscious universe. Light a candle and speak to the stars. Offer water to the earth. Whisper your gratitude to the wind. You don't need to believe in a deity. The act of reverence opens a channel in your own being. It activates a part of you that remembers what your intellect forgot, that you are part of something immeasurably alive. Finally, synchronicity tracking. Begin noting patterns, coincidences, symbols that arise in your life. In a living universe, these are not random. They are language. Keep a journal. Note when strange alignments happen, when someone calls as you think of them, when animals cross your path, when numbers or dreams repeat. Over time, you will begin to hear the language of the cosmos, a kind of nonverbal, intuitive intelligence that reveals a mind beyond your own, yet somehow not separate from it. Living as if the universe is conscious changes everything. It transforms your relationships. You begin to treat people not as roles, but as reflections of the same essence. It transforms your struggles. Pain becomes not punishment, but initiation, an invitation to awaken further. It transforms your purpose. You are no longer chasing meaning. You are meaning unfolding. And perhaps most importantly, it dissolves the loneliness at the core of modern existence. Because in a conscious universe, you are never alone. You are always being witnessed, not from above, but from within. So, could the stars be thinking? Could space itself be dreaming? The ancient mystics would nod. The quantum physicists hesitate. But somewhere between soul and science, a truth stirs, one we are only beginning to remember. The universe is not a machine, it is a mind. And you are not a bystander in this cosmic story. You are a verse in its song, a spark in its gaze, a pulse in its infinite body, awakening to itself through you. The implications are profound. If consciousness is not a fluke of biology, but the root of existence, then your awareness is not small. It is sacred. Your thoughts are not isolated. They echo across the fabric of reality. And your very being is not meaningless. It is meaning made flesh. Every time you wonder, reflect, love, create, you are not simply living. You are fulfilling the universe's deepest instinct, to know itself. So what now? Now you listen. You walk slower. You touch life with reverence. You begin to see the soul shimmering behind all things, hidden in plain sight. The wind is not just weather, it's a message. The sky is not just backdrop, it's a mirror. And you are not just a human being. You are the cosmos, aware of itself for a fleeting, eternal moment. So ask yourself, right now in this breath, what would change if I lived as if the entire universe were alive? and watching through my eyes? Let that question take root in you. Let it transform your choices, your relationships, your sense of wonder. And if this resonated, if something ancient in you stirred, then don't keep it silent. Share this truth, speak it, explore it, and keep asking the deeper questions. Because maybe, just maybe, you are the universe's answer to its own question. If this video awakens something in you, let it ripple. Like, comment, and subscribe for more explorations into the hidden layers of reality. Until next time, stay curious, stay conscious, and remember, you are not alone.